buddy. Pitchfork.
CVA, looks like your network connection's dropped down a little bit and it's picked up. What time are you doing that classroom tonight, Magic?
Yeah, is it 7:30?
7:30 my time, real time.
So what?
That's 30 minutes after.
What?
That's 30 minutes after daily open.
Oh,
I know.
You're horrible. You're evil.
Back,
There's no chance I can make that.
bro. Well, not everything's about you, man.
It's recorded just for you.
You know what to do.
I know. But are you gonna? I've got a question. Are you gonna run through, how to use standard pitchforks, because we've never actually done that. So if you took to do like a little section,
I am gonna run through standard pitchforks a little bit, not like too extensively. I'll show you guys some stuff that is going to be in the thing tonight. So these are some pitchforks you guys have that I've had in folders that I just don't. Yeah. But I don't care. That's fine. Nothing personal to anyone that's watching this that doesn't know. They're not going to figure it out. So obviously we had this one. We did that one on a live stream. But there's another one, believe it or not, in the Doomsday folder. I had completely forgotten about because it's old, but it's very, very relevant and just very interesting, right? So maybe it wasn't in here. Where did I hide that? I put it in the Doom? I moved it. Well, that's going to be a problem. There it is. So if you recall, there you go. That's all you had to do. That's when they're really relevant, and look at the respect. It's so nice.
Man, that's randomly placed, man.
Very random. It almost makes sense. Almost as much as I love my fib circles. I'll go over fib circles a little bit tonight too, but not too in depth. There's really nothing to really go over. It's more of a novelty, but they work. Like, there you go. And this is the one I've been watching from like years ago, getting rejected pretty hard. This has been a very well respected, even though it's several years old. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll cover that stuff. I don't know about that, but I do have this box on here because I marked it out earlier, so I need to take it off so people don't think I'm like saying we're going there. I just like to have clean charts.
Same. Nobody wants a dirty chart,
It's very true. Speaking of dirty charts, remember when we talked about Mina up here and I said it was going to take. Hate to see. It's just an ugly chart, man. It's not ugly. It's
just Danny, you're first.
Absolutely got dumped on. Oh, man. I guess I could get in on my phone and monitor the chat as well. Well, let me know when we got a good amount of people in, and we'll get this show.
We're
started.
We're getting here. We can probably kick it off.
All right. I'm gonna pull it up on my. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll look at it in a second. Let me get it up on my phone so I can kind of keep track of the chat. One of my screens that I'm monitoring it on is like way off to the right, and I just don't look there enough.
Danny said he's first, but there's nobody else that's here yet. So he's like, why is no one else here? There's people in here. They're just not chatting yet.
But you know what would get more people in here is if all 16 of you guys hit that like button. That'd be phenomenal. Anyway, I'm going to put in a different microphone I picked up to get rid of this echo, because I noticed there's an echo when I watch it back, to go through my stuff, and then we'll knock it out. It's pretty simple.
Twin is here. Twinning.
Connect.
Twin is twinning. I'll throw this on the TikTok. Get us 50,000 viewers from poor quality.
All right. That should be much better than it was. I would imagine. Yeah, it is. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, guys. Yeah, so for anyone that is in the group or not in the group, we will be covering pitchforks this evening. If you're not in my time zone, it's after the daily open. If you're in a different time zone and need to do the math there, that's all you need to know. 30 minutes after daily open. All right, so figure that out for wherever you are in the world. It will be recorded, of course. Will be things like this. They are not random placed, guys. They do have points, and they are important. So you can see this is an inside pitchfork, which will be something that we do cover. I'll show you guys how I used an inside pitchfork for this guy here to catch the brown, and then also then turn it to and catch the top. And we could throw a little time on there as well if you guys wanted to. And there you go. There's your timing for everything. And it was pretty nice. So same thing could be said for what we're doing right now, right? So if we come back to a chart you guys should be familiar with, there's something I haven't been showing you guys, but I'll show you guys how to do something like this. And when we look at the one-to-one, we've got a very nice one-to-one coming down to the EQ. So we'll get into that tonight. A little bit of time, a little bit of traditional style pitchforks, and a little bit of stuff that I've put myself to work off of. So pretty simple. Not much has changed since yesterday's update. So, first things first, we had a weekly open. Obviously, the week has opened up where we are. We are monitoring this low right here. This is the sessions low, so to speak, from the, we know that we do have a very, very important time coming in. I'll get rid of this in just a second. This is a chart that we don't really need on here, but we'll play with in a minute. And we're monitoring for the summer. So just the high time frame stuff out of the way, guys. For anyone that's never seen the analysis, let's go out to a daily. We are looking for about, and it messed up my poll. We're looking for July 14th. I'll fix it. Looking for July 14th, 618. It did just shift everything over for some reason when I go back between log scale and non-log on weekly time frames. But regardless, that's what we're looking for. Everything up here, and you can see that on the daily we are level. So until we actually lose 28,726, range bound, but you are getting blocked up here. We had a zone that we were looking for because it was going to be potential support on the way. It did not hold as support right here. You can see we just blew through this area, and then it became resistance. Okay, so this was a horizontal level of resistance and then a merged TPO value area low that we'd identified in advance. And we talked specifically about this scenario where if it went through the level and becomes resistant, this to lower prices, which you guys have all seen this chart by now. It's been overdone inside the group anyway, but this was the zone we're looking for, and the pitchfork you could have been looking for as well. One of them, I suppose, there are multiple that could have been coming in. It was off by about a day on the exact. So is the sell-off over just yet? You haven't done anything of consequence. You really have to regain this zone right here between 31.2 and 31.7. If done, we can then start to postulate moves up, so to speak. 35K is kind of a zone that we're looking for, that 30,027 area. Remember, there's a quarterly level up there, Also right around the low side of an old range. And I do give it some extension up to a daily swing failure pattern that we were working off of for quite some time. Also an old weekly level of support right here, okay? There is also the idea of just using Fibonacci, even though this is kind of a different way of using it. I don't think too many people use trend-based fibs to their fullest potential, I guess is what I'll say. You have your trend right here, okay? So this was a trend on the way down, meaning was going to be this is what predicated this box actually right here. Here was using a little bit of trend-based fibs, standard fibs, and then going out to range data from the past, because I actually, when it came across a guy, very, very knowledgeable guy, I actually like his content a lot. But he did say, and you can see this is where the box rounds out right here at the low, right? So he said that past data doesn't mean anything. You should only be looking at just like bids and future data, which I disagree with whole, but if he has a winning strategy on that, good for him. But we use a lot of past data here to find these ranges and find the areas of interest. But just like this is historical data, like I said, it isn't guaranteed it's a bounce. So you can't just preset for every level that we give you. If we got this move up, you would have to be really looking at this and saying, okay, is this going to be a good short, or am I going to get a giga squeeze through it and then up? Likely, I think it's going to be a good short off the bat. But I would start monitoring this area as early as $34,000 up to $34,900 before really reaching the resistance that you'd be on about right here, which we'll get rid of this box. It's no longer something we need. But I would be looking at this zone still as the area I'm interested in. That's just for upside. Downside wise, just don't want to be living below 28,726 daily closing basis. Really want to be holding on to that and making sure that, price is consolidating, being constructive. Otherwise, it can still make a move down, even challenge into these lows. I believe we left, at 27,560. There is a session point of control down there that I anyway. Which does put us below this wick in this region. Would see that locally you have a swing failure pattern here in that region. Okay, so the low of this wick is coming in right at 27,622. We were just talking about 27,560. So it would stand to make sense that even though you are monitoring the high time frames, this area, you're not flipping it into resistance, and you've really flipped this entire structure at that point. So wicks below are fine. Just need to see what kind of price action you get. But until then, this is a range, and trading it as taking profits up here or looking for shorts. I think Alley Cat took some shorts up here. She announced it in the group. A few other people probably did too. That would be the way to go. Locally, the only thing that was really available to us this morning is you had a really nice back test of swap at the same time. And if you went down to a local session, which I know I track them on TradingView, which a lot of people frown upon, you had really obvious targets, everything from the session WAP up to the point of control and the high of it, right? So very, very nice. Fairly standard. There's really not much to really talk about other than the levels that we have are still the levels. Any kind of a closure above this new daily that's untapped up here, I guess you could say, right here at 3073. Be a little bit of an early indication. It does line up with that 31.2 merged TPO value area low that we were talking about. So, I mean, if you don't want too many levels on there, you could do either one. They're interchangeable. They're only separated by $1. Clear above that and confirmation of might be the early indication that you need to at least look for this move up, barring any kind of a failure and then like losing the level. So what I mean by that is if it made the move, which, is always an if, you got above the level, but then you gave the level up, you can't hang on to that position if you go long. You have to get out of that because it's more than likely coming all the way back down at that point. So for me right now, it's kind of don't diddle in the middle, so to speak, letting price action do what it's going to do. If you're taking these positions here, I suppose you could hang on to those trades. Personally, I'm a proponent of taking profit. I think a lot of the guys in the group are the same way. And, you know, that's really what I would recommend. The bounce from this zone was, you know, off of the lows here. And then I do believe we hit like the 382 or something like that. If I recall, there was a 382 bounce here. Yeah, right here to the T, as you guys will hear me say, the 382. So very simple trading. Not too much to really talk about at the moment. Bitcoin is sideways and can still go from here. So I'm in positions. I really will see if we can resolve some pressure on some of these shorts that have been, you know, largely in profit. The problem with that is you can't really get a short squeeze from this position, in my opinion. If you wanted one, a run back to the lows, maybe fill that in POC would be the way to go. Get people shorting again where they shouldn't be, and then get the move up. But you know, that's only an opinion from me at this point. So I guess I can turn it over to Max. You know, there's not a lot's changed since yesterday, but it should be a fairly decent for you guys. Fib time wise, the only fib time I'm really watching for, there is one on May 23rd of interest. So that's about 6 days out. So May 23rd is a day that I'm interested in. I do have several altcoins that are like, that's a big day for them, that May 23rd dates. That's it. That's it for me.
Nicely done, sir.
All right, bonjour, everyone. So yes, going from where Magic kind of left off, that 0.382 bounce that we had, you know, yesterday caused the move up. I'm going to get rid of that on my chart. The only thing that I want to look at on TradingView is actually that we did come into the golden pocket. You know, we posted this in the group that we're in the golden pocket. A couple day trades that you could have taken. You know, I like to do the low time frame stuff for the group. Day trades that you could have gone through today. This is always, for all the members in the group, I always recommend that you go through what's happened and find possible trades you could have taken. It's very useful, you know, to build that pattern recognition that it takes in the mind to then see it live in when it's happening. So yeah, so came up to the gold pocket. We had two green vectors. If we look here, you can see building up on the volume. And then it failed to get to, you know, where was the key area? Well, the daily at 31K, you know, you'd have wanted it to push higher and not stall in this region. I know we had an Asia naked point of control here. Obviously, you got a rejection from a little scalp, but nothing major. Didn't even come back to the view app or the daily from that. Market structure was very bullish. And then, yeah, you got the two PVA candles pushing us out, came down, still lingering in that golden pocket. Now, where could have one thought about, you know, shifting from a long from the 0.382 to maybe a scalp short if you wanted to? Let's have a look. Where was it? In fact, let me have double check. 12 o'clock. Sorry. This is actually here. I need to go on a lower term time frame. So it's here. So it's about midday for me. But yeah, you can clearly see we've had huge divergence between, you know, this high here which was established, and then you come down, build up some liquidity. Yes, volume was somewhat dire, but you have still nonetheless built a divergence. You know, how do you trade a divergence? Stop us above the high, and you enter when you see the positions that create the divergence get put underwater. Where were they put underwater? Well, if we have a zoom in, see here, the positions came in here and then in these two candles. Okay, so as soon as we've dropped below there, you know, you've got selling imbalances here, another one here. Granted, open interest was negative there, but, you know, that's your trigger really to, you know, open the trade. You're putting the longs underwater, under pressure. You know, they're going to start to sweat as the price goes down. You get a few more triggers as well. I think, again, in this candle here, you actually get another pump of people trying to long it here. You can see the 3 million here, and yet in the next candle, immediately pushed underwater. It's not what you want to see if you're favoring upside. So yeah, you've had a few little notifications here to maybe flip short for a little scalp. Where should take profit always be? Well, if you're scalp trading, where should it be? Well, the next support, if you're in short, again, VWAP, always key, always key. So this would be, the second trade that I've spotted today that one could have taken. I know someone in the group tried to short this because they saw some longs come in here. Really, when you see it come down to support and you see longs coming in at support, that tends to not be a bad thing. It tends to, it helps with, you want to see the longs come in to create the reaction to take you away from the support level. If you didn't see any longs come in and, you started to come beneath the level of support, that's when you can start to think, okay, maybe I need to start, if I'm not already in a short, maybe I just need to start thinking about getting in a short below the support, or maybe on a retest or something of the sort. But as you see, longs coming in at support, creating the reaction that we like to see. Really, you should have been. You don't short at the VWAP when you're above it. You can short the retest from below, but you should always be longing the retest. So then, this was the other trade you could have taken here, along with the reaction that we had. You don't short this. You don't short into that stuff. And then you've come up with them. We've had some quite a lot of fun here, but we failed to take the high, which isn't ideal. You also did create on that last rise up another CVD divergence, and you can see here in these candles. So let's presume that you're long from the VWAP, and you've had no reason to short as of yet. You've got open interest increasing with the move. Yes, you do come back down as the volume starts to drop off. And then you get the volatility come in. And what happens when the volatility comes in? You've got 21 million there, 12 million here. A lot of volume coming into these candles. And they are very high on the open interest, on the delta, for these candles. You've got 3.7 here, 3.1 there. And that does create another, divergence between this high and this high. And with us failing to take that high, it's, it takes you from leading divergence, which is what, leading delta, which is what you want to see as, delta moves with the move, which is what you want to see. But when it fails to take specific highs, you can look, okay, so the longs in relation to this high, they're failing to get it higher, which is not what you want to see. So it shows you signs of absorption. Where could have one taken a short? Let's have a browse. Let's have a browse. So at the top here, look in this candle here, you've got 2.1 million longs open here, 2.9 here, two little area. Well, it's not a big area here, but quite a lot of longs coming there, nearly 5 million longs have entered here. And granted, you do get selling imbalances here. Enter here, while that bottom one is actually quite important. You've had 2.4 million sell orders come in. It was a sell order and not a short enter because the open interest is very down. So it just shows that buyers that maybe bought here have sensed weakness, spotted the absorption, and are thinking, do you know what, I'm going to just get out of that position. So if you'd entered here, where again is the take profit, VWAP, it's always the VWAP. The VWAP's just so good. It's so important because it just always offers a bounce when you get to it, or a bounce or some reaction. So it should always be your take profit. We may go down from here. Like, I have no reason other than the fact we're at the VWAP too long here. There's no underwater shorts. Shorts aren't coming in too heavy. The buys have come in here. Look, you've got 1.8 million here, 800,000 there, but nothing crazy, Over here, in comparison, let's just have a look. You had, 1.2 million just below to hold you up. Another 400K there, 900K there, 1.7 million there, 900K there, 2.6 as you're moving away, 400K is moving away, another million, 2.8. Granted, over time this could change, but you've got quite a lot of selling coming into this area. 1.9 there at the VWAP. Okay, again, not the best place to be, selling or
Do you
entering your short.
do you know why the VWAP is the target? I know
Is
you
it
do, but like
due to institutions? Is it not?
no, like that's
Tell me.
actually completely
Teach
false.
us.
Yeah, I will. That's actually one of the most misconceived things about it. And anyone that's told you that in the past, which I know who's perpetuated that, it's false. They did not do very much research before they did that lesson. So it's largely just an average. So it's a mean reversion play. It doesn't. There's no proof or statistical evidence that institutions are getting in at the VWAP, and that's what it is because you've proven over time that statistical models shown that it's easier to spread out orders over multiple prices rather than try to lump them into one area, which makes sense, especially from if you think about it just from an order flow standpoint. They're going to have to break their orders up. That's not how they're going to go in with one order at a time, at the VWAP. So it's just a statistical average. So it's the average daily price, just like a pivot formula multiplied by the volume. So if it's the average price, it means it's the fair market value inside of a trend. So you're returning to the average or fair market value of a trend, meaning that if the market deems that the average price of that trend is fair value, the price will auction higher. That's the purpose of the average at that point. Does it guarantee a bounce? Not always, but you can always guarantee that people are looking at it. And if it is the average, it's the average for a reason, meaning it will tell you what it wants to do. That's why, like you always say, we don't preset. We look at the order flow and see if there's a trade available. And sometimes there is and sometimes there isn't, Oftentimes, though, when you're returning to these averages and you're getting that bounce, it's because you're returning back to a value where it's no longer over one side or the other, and people feel like, all right, well, if I'm looking for a short, we're back at the average for the day. Let's see what the participants want to do. Is the trend going to continue? Is the trend down or up? Or vice versa. In this case, it was up. So that's why. And that's not to take shots at anyone. I'm not naming any names by any means. It's just I think it's one of the more misconceived or misused tools out there. People don't actually know why it works or what the purpose of it is. And that probably goes by and large for a lot of things, but it's not to rant, that's just the facts of what it is. It's an average. That's all it is. Anyway, I'm done lecturing.
Done with the hijack. All right, fair enough. It makes complete sense, to be fair. And yeah, I'd probably prefer it a little bit more now, I guess. I still love it. It's one of the best tools. In answer to Thomas's thing of the CVD, yeah, you do actually. If you look here, you have a slight divergence between this high and here. Personally, actually not personally, this is the way to trade it for everyone in the group that is following along with the order flow stuff. When you have a divergence like that, where it's clearly not the high, the high is up here. You've got the divergence. This is actually the 1 minute chart, so it's really difficult to make out. But the high is here, and this is where we had the divergence that we spotted before. When you have a divergence and it's not actually at the top of the move or the bottom, it's more of a continuation divergence. So you can't really. Well, you can trade off it, but personally, it's more. I'd be more considered if I was in a short and I spotted this, I would probably hold it a bit longer rather than taking the short here just above the VWAP and putting my stop loss here. I wouldn't even risk that. It's not. I imagine over time, the risk reward, well, not even the risk reward. I reckon statistically, you'd lose that more times than not if you're shorting just above the VWAP. But there was the divergence there, and when you don't move up higher, it's just a continuation divergence, I guess. And look, you have broken the VWAP now. Again, a lot of sells coming in. I'm going to go back to the 5 minute. A bit too cracky on the 1 minute for me. But yeah, you've got a lot of selling pressure. Volume's really flying in as you've lost the VWAP. Where do I expect it to go now? Well, if we go back to here, if I have it up, the daily, to be honest with you, if we're going to drop down from here, the daily is always juicy. I really want to hold that. And obviously this EMA, which everyone in the group knows, I really would want to hold that area. If we go down from there, let's pull a fib and have a look. Yes, so you've got the 0.382 actually in that area as well. Always nice, because that's what gave us the bounce from down here. The 0.5 lines up somewhat with the previous day VWAP, $100 or so. And yeah, the gold pocket down here would coincide with maybe a swing fail of these lows here, of the current day low. Yeah, won't be too bad if we came and did that. But yeah, that's all for in the immediate anyway. Over to you, CVO.
Heard that. Man, your trading view is just so colorful. I wish I could see what colors they were.
Yeah, it's like, can you literally not see anything?
No,
I really like
them, but yeah, it's pretty much just hollowed out.
The hollow candles for me are just like, I love the hollow candles, and the fact that these PVA candles are in all the key areas, it's just so useful. I just love it.
Nice.
The standard blocky candles, I just really can't. These candles, I hate them so much. Oh shit! There we go. All right, over to you, CBO.
Thanks, sir. All right. Take a look at ETH Quant and Solana. Somebody asked about Luna. There's probably not a great chance that that's going to really amount to anything at this point, obviously. It really just reminds me of that BitConnect scheme back in the day. BitConnect was like, this similar. I mean, BitConnect was a straight up. It was almost even branded as a scam to some degree, but it was a lending, platform, and you basically ended up going, had like a $400, I think was like the coin at some point, or whatever their back token was, and it fell pretty drastically, and the way down it had some pretty big bounces basically from the lows, but for quick trades, which were all gambles essentially, and that's kind of, I'm getting that same vibe off of Luna now. So I'm not sure that we'll ever see a recovery back to where we were on that Luna schematic. So for the person asking in here, so hope you didn't gamble too much at the lows there. So ETH, really simple levels here we're looking at as well. Pretty much just waiting to see how this resolves, this little area right here, similar to how Bitcoin is, right? We're kind of diddling in the middle right now. I got this. What we did here was when we fell out of this Q1 range of this year, we dropped it down into last year's Q2, right? So that's what I got pulled up here. You got the range low. We've got our point of control. And I've highlighted the local golden pocket right now, which comes in. I know it looks a little stacked right here. Comes in like $1,900, just right above the Q2 21 point of control. On the 4-hour time frame right now, it looks like we had some pretty decent, short-term trend coming in, right? You got your low, or I guess you could even put it at the wick there, but you got a high. You got a little uptrend possible right here, right? We really want to see this. This has been the key, though, is getting above this weekly level right here. And full screen that on YouTube. That would have been, that's really the key idea here, is to get above this weekly level for a multitude of reasons. Obviously, that's our next resistance as one. There's actually an overall point of control that's coming in right here that we were looking at as well for like the entire year and a half last range, or the entire last year and a half almost, right? So if we look at that pretty much as a whole here, right, you can see basically you're coming in right at the point of control for that as well. So that's why we're really looking at this like $50 window right here. This point of control is pretty important. This is literally from last April till now. And then you got this weekly here. So the weekly to me is really the area I'm looking to really just kind of see this conclusively close above and hold for the short term to, consider more upside, right? Until then, we just got a little rejection with Bitcoin as well. And, not out of the question here to just get this drawdown back to back to the point of control, tag this golden pocket as well, which pretty much lines up. So this is what I'm talking about right now, and that's pretty much in line with what we've been anticipating over the week here. We've been pretty much just ranging around within this region. So once again, just a nice clean range across the board, right? If you're trading this in a short period of time, right? You had, even if you started paying attention to around this window here, short off the high right here, didn't necessarily make it all the way to the low right there, but right now we're coming into the point of control. From here, if we get a drawback down, the low of the range comes in about 1928, which once again is in line with this golden pocket and this overall, well, not overall, the quarter two point of control from last year. So clear move right now, right? Either clear this weekly up here, which is about $130 higher than where we are now. Otherwise, anticipate coming back and just remaining range bound within this area right here. As far as higher term here, right? If we lose this area, lose this range low, this would be implying we're coming down and taking the lows all across the board. Probably, Bitcoin's heading back down towards that low we hit the other day, things of that nature. Then this yearly S1 comes in. To me, this area is this would be probably if Bitcoin's going back to 20K, right? That previous all-time high. Then this would be the area I'd be looking for ETH, right? Which is pretty much the previous all-time high for ETH, right? So they all kind of correlate together in that aspect, but you can't really worry about that until this range low. You start making your way back to these areas and seeing how the price action reacts. So right now, looking for this area to be the major support at the moment. Otherwise, we break this weekly level here, re-enter the previous quarter one range above us. We still have the $2,600 point of control up here as our major target to the upside, and see how things unfold in that regard. So that's pretty much the short term for ETH here. QNT. QNT, right? So pulled up this weekly level right here, just to kind of showcase where we actually came down and wicked down to. We were looking for a bit of a higher time frame level to hold down here at 40. So we did get front run a little bit, caught up at this weekly level right here, $49. Obviously, if we were to lose some levels here, ETH and Bitcoin start heading lower. The next major two for quant, just throwing up both scenarios here, right? Because once again, we're kind of diddling in the middle. So just like Magic said, looking at this $40 area for me, and then kind of a worst case in the short term here would be going all the way down to $30, which is this 2 week level. Mind you, that's implying that the entire market, right? We'd start getting clues from the entire market at that point. If Bitcoin's going to start heading lower, obviously that's another 60% drop. So not something to just get straight married to. We are at support right now at a 6-month level. And so holding that is, what we want to see. You got a weekly level right above us, about 82.70. And then essentially if we re-enter this range that we were in, this is our quarter one of this year, then we'd be looking back up towards this point of control and continuing on with onward and upward from there, right? So pretty simple areas as well to kind of be paying attention for. You can put a stop loss below this 6 month if you'd like. You got the previous low right here you can pay attention for. Obviously, if we're coming down and we take out this low, there's a high chance, unless this is a swing failure, that we're going to come down at least back to 41. Yeah, so really want to hold this 6 month level here. Reclaiming this range would be beautiful. That would obviously imply that the market as a whole starts bouncing higher anyways. And but if we start getting these drops any further down with Bitcoin and the rest of the market, I'd be looking for this weekly and this 3M. And Solana, this box didn't really box it off, but this area right here was where we were looking for Solana to come back down to since about February, back to that $44 range, and got that pretty nicely. Broke back above, holding the S1, which is a major key level here to be holding above here. Back tested it so far, making a nice little uptrend. You could argue, if you're looking at this as like an ascending channel, something of that nature, that this would be this would be probable to be actually breaking down from here a little bit. So possible to come back down to these levels anyhow. For the upside potential here, you really want to reclaim this $70 daily up here. From there, we've got our range low once again back in there. Point of control comes in at 90, and then we continue on from there. But coming down and sweeping this quarterly key level wouldn't really amount to a great result for Solana. Once again, this is kind of like our worst case scenario, market continues lower type of deal for everything. So right now you are at major support. You did come down to a major area we were looking for. And really just looking to hold these levels currently and then looking up from here, right? So like you clear this $70 level, we really want to see that range reclaim up here. Otherwise, it's really simple to kind of like gauge the whole market with Bitcoin right now. Everything, especially after these drops, everything looks, everything, it looks the same. Very, very, say the word simple, I guess, but it's easy to pay attention to Bitcoin right now and kind of dictate how the altcoins would be going. So if we start getting some big moves out of Bitcoin, you kind of have your areas to pay attention for the alts as well. Okay. So we can look at XRP real quick. Just go over the faves. All right. Putting this, this is actually from our last live stream here, right? So I left this channel or this parallel channel on here, and let's see what we got here. 6M, what is the 3M there? So I'll just throw on some of these higher levels here. All right. As far as upside for XRP, this is one of those that Magic was pointing out, this descending triangle here that was more than likely going to break lower, obviously, from here as well, in an overall range that XRP has been sitting in for years at this point. Very similar to Litecoin, Neo, a couple of the other older coins from last run as well. But really want to see this 3-month level here back at like 60 cents get reclaimed for upside from here. Otherwise, we did come down to a yearly S1 support, so a major high time frame pivot here, and then losing this. Not many want to hear it, obviously, but you really do run the risk if we don't get back above these levels up here that we're going to rotate this range in full at this point, right? So that would drop you down to roughly 24 cents. And then there's a couple NPOCs as well down in the 17 and 19 cent region of the chart as well. So definitely, a big around this bottom of the range here, could be a big DCA event, depending on how your strategy is and what you're looking to do with XRP. But if we don't start getting back above the 60 cent region and really, start taking out some of these levels here, even really upwards of like 86, then we're probably going to be heading down here a little bit lower. So once again, even if we get that bounce to the upside, so this is one of those times when you really want to be paying attention, because we can get this run up all the way back up to 60 cents. And then, we get that bounce, in the whole market as a whole. I really want to be paying attention up here. And that's the word, trying to preach here, is that, you can preset buys and sells and all this and all that. But if when we get to these levels, pulling up the order flow, pulling up the open interest, things of that nature, these tools help you to navigate if this is an area where, the market is interested or not. So, it's a very helpful tool to help you decide if you want to, consider taking profits at these regions, into shorts, whatever the case may be, if we're just going to cut right through it, things of that nature. So that would be the next area if we come up to it for me, which would be basically back at about 60 cents, 58 cents. Otherwise, may just end up ranging around in between here for a hot minute. And then if we do get that next leg down for Bitcoin, then you're talking 17, 18 cents in the region of that for XRP. All right. You have a friend that picked up 7 million Luna for $500, said if it goes back to a penny, he's going to have 70K and run. I mean, yeah, this is crypto. I mean, the wild, wild west, I guess it could happen, but you know, it's somebody said it best recently that it just at this point, that just sounds like the SHIB hope, right? The Shiba hope of it getting to a penny. And, you know, I know they've been like flooding. They've been doing all kinds of stuff at Luna. So who knows? But yeah, it's probably something that's probably done for. But he's stupid and planning. Oh yeah, man! If you could turn $200 into 29,000 on anything, I mean, that's just just take that and run and pretend you missed out. Like anybody else would kill for a scenario like that, you know. So yeah, getting greedy in that scenario is probably not the best. Just taking a look at near too, taking a browse. Got to figure out a way to incorporate that. That's my new slogan. I'm gonna take it a browse. Simple couple of levels here that we're looking at here too. We do have the yearly S1 coming in here about $5. That's a pretty big drop from this point. Obviously, we've already kind of wicked down to that region, but that's implying that, you know, the market doesn't move up well for us. Otherwise, you know, just kind of on the climb back to this quarterly, you know, range here. You know, near pretty new project here. What is it since? I guess since 2020. So it's got some price action here. This region of the chart right here, right, is pretty much where we kind of roughly topped out last year in March, April time. So definitely got some support up here. Spent a lot of time there. Obviously, there's, you know, a couple 3-month levels here in between, and we've got our you know, year average price coming in there as well. So around this region, once again, depends on your strategy in a short term. You're right, looking to reclaim this daily and get back into this range. You know, these areas up here would be some profit taking zones, depending on how things go around the rest of the market here. Especially if you got in at the lows, though. I mean, this point of control is going to be a big area. It's about 100% move, once again, without leverage, right? Sorry, 70%. And then from here, you know, we got a pretty much all-time highs come in at $20. So near could very much be one of these. It didn't necessarily break in all-time highs, but you know, back in 18 when you know, the bear market ensued and whatever, you know, you did have quite a few coins actually go into all-time high mode for, you know, at times. So near far away from it now. So I mean, it's something to kind of just consider. But as we come back into these regions, this could be one of the few that you know, this maybe this is the chain link of the bear market if that's where we're at, right? Patiently waiting for 5x on H bar. You know, H bar has got some, you know, got a lot of upside at this point. I mean, everything does, right? H bar's got some, you know, got some leg room. You really don't want to lose this point of control again, though. That's the only thing. I mean, that's a big drawdown once again back to this range low. But once again, I mean, that would be, we'd have probably some warning signals out of Bitcoin at that point. That's another 50% pullback, right? So that'd be probably across the board. We're getting some hits. Otherwise, though, you reclaim this yearly level, so that's about 30% from where we are now, right? We got 10 cents, it's 13. Clear that 13-cent level, and then you know, looking back up from there. Decent areas to put your, you know, consider stop losses or put alerts on your chart so that you can kind of you know, review what the price action is doing, what the market's up to when we get back to these levels, right? And easy things, right? Just alert, boom. Now that'll alert me when it comes back down to that level. Same thing for here, right? Anybody can do this. You can just go in TradingView, pull up the app. It's free. Very helpful, right? All right. Send them all to 0. All right, perfect. Max's PVA candles. Max Max does have some nice PVA candles. All right, I think that's about all we got today. Still kind of a decent area to be paying attention for, but we are kind of diddling in the middle a bit here. We got back again under 30K for Bitcoin. A couple of trades to be had this morning out of at least Bitcoin and Ethereum. I know a couple of the other guys in the group and gals doing pretty well with Near and a couple other alts. For me, it's Bitcoin and ETH right now as far as any kind of a leverage position. The other alts are they're squirrely, man. They'll shoot up 3-5% real quick. If anybody wants to have access to tonight's Magic is going to be hosting he's doing a pitchfork classroom here in our leading crypto Discord server. So that'll be at 7:30 p.m. His time, so 8:30 p.m. Eastern tonight. It'll be recorded for anybody that cannot attend live, put in our live recordings or our academy. But if you'd like access to all of our altcoin setups, Bitcoin analysis, order flow, open interest, members only market updates, et cetera, feel free to join. The information for those are in our information pages here on YouTube and TikTok. Otherwise, we'll be here again live tomorrow about 9:30, 9:45 a.m. Eastern. Until next time, everybody, CVO signing off. Cheers.